level 84. He's an achievement junkie. Now we do have at the top side spawning as the pink Terran. It's from Clan MythViperGS. It's Androide. And on the bottom side, Wyman. Who do we have?
It is our yellow Protoss from Team Myth. It's Viper.
There we go. Yeah, like you mentioned, maybe he was a little bit nervous. Well, he had one game to be nervous, and now he has a game to take that back and tie up the series. Because he has to get back into this, and that's really hard.
Yeah, I mean, he has really nothing to lose at this point, you know. Of course, he can technically still lose, but there's, why not go for some crazy strat at this point? Yeah, pretty much standard play at this point in the game, of course. I don't want to get overly critical of him, but moving the SCV that is actually holding minerals to move your depot that's like, you know.
It's something you can make up for. If he goes back to the mineral line and you select the command center and then you rally him to the mineral line, he will still give off those minerals and you won't lose
Yeah,
that much time. But you are right, that's a little bit overcritical, but it does help in the early
yeah,
game to don't make mistakes like that. As a
right.
Zerg, don't use the guys with the mineral patches to make the pool and stuff as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah, stuff like that. So a bit of probe harassment coming out of the Protoss here. Actually, a lot of damage on this
Yeah.
SCV already. Choosing not to keep engaging, but yeah, this SCV down 20 HP. Um, I don't think there's going to be a lot happening here because this probe is obviously forced to run away, and he might re-engage the chasing SCV. But he's definitely delaying his mining a bit, just annoying the Terran a bit.
And just for Wyman, he used the SCV with a mineral patch to chase the
Yeah.
probe. Just for you, that's especially for you.
Oh, such poor form. No, I'm just kidding. Early gas actually being taken by Android here, so we might see some very definitive Reaper play coming out from him this time. The timing should line up quite okay-ish. It looks like this SCV has actually decided to, yeah, he was faking that he was still chasing the probe, but the probe catches on that he's actually just scouting, so the probe's going to turn around and try to get another scout off. And he's going to see that there's a second barracks on the way, and that gas has been taken. So this is very clear indicative of Reaper play, even though the first unit to come out is a Marine.
Yep, first unit's gonna be a Marine, and then he's gonna lift off
Oh,
that barracks
oh,
and make a reactor. So
oh,
it could
so
be
wrong.
reactor Reapers.
Well, yeah, it could be, of course, but it's really unusual.
That's something I would have liked in Wings of Liberty, but they never added it.
Yeah,
Reactor Reapers. Now, Viper does get a good scout up, but he already threw down the Nexus first. So he's feeling
wow.
very confident after the first game, I feel like, because he's just making a cybernetic score now. So the double Reaper production could start as the first Stalker is coming out. How many Reapers do you need to kill Stalker?
This looks like an ordinary 2x, by the way, but if you micro will, I think 3 on their own will do the job. Um, yeah, this does look like an ordinary 2x. Here, we got double Marine production on the way, and might probably get either stim or concussive shell. Yeah, it's concussive shell. So this is like the classic, like classic Turax, which you could actually see if you go way back to the first season of GSL. Even I think you'll see players doing this build and going for early pressure. And to be honest, once he gets like 2 or 3 Marauders with concussive shell, um, it's going to be tough to hold for Viper. I mean, getting a mothership core is helping tons, but still.
Yep, the thing is, when you scout gas and a barracks these days, you're gonna be like, oh no, it's Reapers. And when you go for 2-Rex, you're not gonna be expecting it. It's a little bit of mind games, I feel like, going on from
Yeah.
him. And this could do a lot more damage than he actually thought there.
Yeah, mind games for sure. Getting the mothership core though, it's kind of the unit that makes this build somewhat obsolete because of how good the purifier is on the Nexus. You can't you can't kill the Nexus anymore with just a bunch of Marines and a Marauder when there's a mothership core out. And there we have the move out now from Android. Not pulling any SCVs though.
And he's not pulling any SCVs, and he's starting Stimpack just now, which means that will not finish anytime soon. So it will just be unupgraded Marines Marauder with the addition of concussive shells. On Viper's side, however, we see a Stalker and a Zealot. That's not a lot right now. I think he also warped in a Sentry somewhere. But it's gonna be up to the Mothership Core to save the day, and it just barely doesn't have 100 energy, but it will have it in time to make that Nexus shoot at its opponents and do a lot of damage here.
Yeah, right. Android now moving in. Actually going to pull out straight away as soon as the Photon Overcharge gets casted on this Nexus. He had 2 choices basically. either run back or go up the ramp, and going up the ramp would probably not have been a very good idea with a sentry there. So this is the correct call, and actually he's just gonna completely turn home.
Yep, he's just gonna go back home. Now, the thing is, he did force out some energy, so that's good. But the bad part is his expansion is so behind Vipers. He is adding a factory and an engineering base, so I'm assuming here that it's not gonna be two base play from the Terran. It looks like a one base all in, to be honest.
Yeah, it does look like one, but why would you throw down an engineering bay if you're gonna? Maybe it's just for defense because he doesn't know what tech route Viper's going.
Yes.
He's assuming oracles once again. However, Viper is getting quick charge, which is kind of new to me as well in terms of metagame. Like he's got 3 gates, so mass zealot production isn't really the thing to do. But he is getting very early charge, which I guess is quite effective against this very bare 2x play if you get enough force field.
Yeah, but there's also going to be some siege tanks, and we will most likely see some banshees as well. Medevacs if he chooses so. It is going to be a 2-1-1, slight variation, a two racks opening into the for the rest of normal 1-1-1. There is going to be an Illusion Phoenix, however, scouting that, and I really like that play.
Yeah, that's a good move. It still though is only sentry, which means he could not force field the ramp if he had needed to. But he gets a perfect scout off at this point, which is actually very beneficial for Viper. I don't think he saw the entire army, but he did see, of course, the tech lab on the factory, so he knows kind of what's going on. This is going to be a very interesting exploration into Heart of the Swarm metagame, so to speak, because tanks, even though they're very good against the Protoss units, especially Stalkers, the cannon on the Nexus will outrange them.
I think the cannon on the Nexus is the exact same range, wasn't it?
Well, I'm not sure actually, but I know it's an effective counter. So.
Yep, it is because it shoots very far, and it can snipe off the tanks. Now, of course, the 1-1-1 is a little bit stronger as well because tanks don't require the siege mode to actually siege up, so that's gonna save you 100 gas. But I think the Protoss has the advantage in that department. Also, time warp, of course.
Yeah, this is a good move, going straight for the Nexus and using the siege tanks simply as a zoning tool against the Protoss. So, yeah, great moves here. Not using that photon overcharge on the Nexus to defend there, also being the correct call because there's really no way to save it. And now we have this, this flood of Terran units just coming into the Protoss natural. Gonna make it quite difficult for the Protoss to defend because even though he's on 5 gates, he's also invested in a lot of tech, so his army is too big. Force field catching a few units, but not too much.
Yep, and the medevac will see the high ground, so the siege tank is going to get a good range on the zealots and on the stalkers there. It's going to be a little bit of an awkward situation because both players can see each other's army with that observer, but the observer gets sniped off. That's a good call from Androide. What I would like to see from Androide is actually trying to contain him rather than going up, but I think he's going to go for the push. Now on the other side we have High Templars, at least I saw one.
Yeah,
I don't know if it has Storm, it does not have Storm. But it is going to scare Android a lot though. When you see High Templar as a Terran, you don't know if it has Storm or not. It has enough energy and you're going to be very careful with moving your bioforces.
Yeah. So it looks like Android is still committing to this, not getting in command center or anything like this. This is the play he wants to make. Actually picking up 2 siege tanks with, no, just 1, with the medevac, and is he actually going to push like that? That's interesting. Seems like this siege tank is not going to be that long for life.
It is not going to be, but does do a lot of damage on the zealots.
Yeah, the thing is, if you do a push strat like this, you can't really lose those tanks. He needs these, because if he just charges up the ramp, he will get force fielded. And Storm is not yet finished though, so he seems a bit indecisive. His army is slightly bigger than it was just a while ago.
I don't see why he wouldn't try to go for the contain plus an expansion of his own. He knows that Viper is on 1 base right now. Viper's also going to do a cute counterattack on the right side of the map with some zealots. The proxy pylons are absolutely everywhere. And this could do a lot of damage because he's not counting on this. He has to, well, he's going to lose his siege tank. He can't save that against the charge. But he has to up those depots. Does do that, that's nice.
Yeah, that's, it's actually kind of good that he had that siege tank there because you would rather lose the siege tank than have these zealots come into your base.
He is going to lose another tank though when he's moving back with his army. Now he's going to move straight for the army and nothing's sieged up right now. There is one in the back. He's kiting the other way around though.
big force fields and the storm.
And the storm.
He's doing a lot of damage, trying to kite away from these. Double storm doesn't stack though. And the Protoss army is actually at this point so much more bigger than the Terran, who has completely lost his very advantageous position over the Protoss.
Yep. He was in a decent position there. Well, with tech he was a little bit behind though against Storm, but he did have medevacs already out, so that wasn't too bad. But losing the tank when he dropped it, then losing the tank that was defending, and then losing the tank when he was pulling back, that means he lost 3 out of 4 tanks, and that was really the expensive and most powerful part of his army there.
Yeah, and at this point, Terran is just in a terrible shape. I mean, he did try to snipe the Nexus, which was being built, but the Mothership Core put an end to that. And the Protoss is just going to charge up the ramp, takes down the depot, and there's just almost no units here. And, well, Android leaves the game.
Android leaves the game indeed, and good job by the guy from Myth. I, of course, did not know those results.
Subtle. Very subtle.